Did you
What?
actually enjoy it?
What? The
Cottage.
cabin?
Hmm.
I mean, for the most part, other than half the people leaving, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and not really having anything to do. That's sort of disappointing.
I didn't mind that. I didn't think
Hmm.
that I would be doing much.
Yeah, I guess.
I never go on the water when you guys go, anyways. I just sort of chill. You got even
Yeah,
worse
no.
when you guys left.
As soon as we left and started reading,
Maybe like 20 minutes later, half an hour later.
damn,
Yeah, but the fire survived.
that's good. At
Dude, we
least you
had
guys
that
had a good
fire
time
going.
night too.
We had that fire going all night.
Good stuff.
Yeah. Aside from my legs getting destroyed, it was great.
Yeah, the bugs were pretty bad too.
Yeah. Yeah, they were rough, man.
It's like that every night though. I was playing softball last night and they were just killing me, so
Crazy.
it's tough.
I had Vic and I counted. I had like 80 or 85, somewhere around there. Like bites between my two legs alone. What's going on, everybody? And finally, welcome back to the Hoops Corner. I'm your host, Peter Tran, and on the line, the Iceman himself, just living in constant hail, it seems like, in Ottawa. Josh Cohen, how you doing?
Yeah, climate change is real, isn't it? We're in the dead of summer and there's hail coming down. It's probably gonna snow soon. It's been a crazy couple months.
Dude, it's the beginning of August. It's so
Yeah.
wild.
Maybe it's gonna be summer in the winter.
I mean, that would kind of be the hope, just generally more temperate year round, not just massive like extremes.
Yeah. Then again, if that happens, though, I think we have to start really worrying. If we get up to like 20 degrees in a December night, that would not be great.
No. Imagine a non-winter Christmas though.
Yeah, that would be nice. That would be nice, but it's also, a prerequisite to, eventually the world burning. So, yeah, not
Yeah.
great.
And like you'd have to have snow tires on all year because you never know when it's actually gonna not snow.
Yeah, that's true. I
For
mean, I have my all seasons on all year, so usually anyway,
use
but
all
now
seasons during the winter?
I have,
You're
yes. I'm
nuts,
one of those
man.
crazy people and
Don't do it.
extremely cheap people, but this year I actually bought winter tires because they were half off due to a Costco error, so,
Good.
had to spend.
Dude, you're in Ottawa,
Yeah.
man. You can't be riding around in all seasons during the winter.
Yeah, survived so far. It just shows how good of a driver I am, right?
Nope. Sorry. We're not going there. All right. So it's been a few weeks since we've done this. Literally since we were just talking about it before, like we went to that cottage. Uh, and to be honest, not much has happened. We've had a couple of not Embiid, Harden and Damian Lillard rumors as usual. Another Pascal Siakam rumor, which is just getting a little bit more traction as the days go on. So that'll be interesting to see like how that plays out. Hold on, just quickly. Do you think Pascal's gonna be a Raptor by trade deadline? Just yes or no?
I'm gonna go with no.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like it, eh? I'm gonna say they keep him though. That's my guy. I love Spicy P,
Really,
man.
eh?
I love Pascal. What's not to like?
No, I like them too. It's just based on their roster situation, it's gonna be really hard to keep both him and OG.
Yeah, between between him, OG, and Scotty Barnes, who obviously they're gonna build the team around in the future, someone's got to go. And we already heard that the asking price for OG was astronomical at the last trade
As it
deadline.
should be. As it should
It
be.
should not be astronomical, but okay.
I mean, he's the perfect archetype of like what all the teams are looking for, right? He is that guy. He is a 3 and D wing that can pretty much play or defend any position, and he does all the things on offense that you require, and he can play 40 minutes in a playoff game. So they should be asking for a lot.
Five draft picks a lot? Or four?
Yeah, I mean, you might as well ask and then get down to three, right?
I mean, that's sure. That's a good negotiation tactic, I guess. Anyways, aside from
Absolutely.
all of that, we have FIBA friendlies going on. We have the World Cup at the end of the month. Sorry, so that'll be fun. Get to see our guy Shea Gilgeous-Alexander in action and Lou Dort carrying Team Canada along with Nikhil Alexander Walker. That was cool.
Yeah, I mean, Lou Dort. consistently, brings his team up in these massive games. Like in the playoffs, he couldn't shoot in the regular season a couple years ago, and then he was shooting like 40% from three and, shutting down James Harden in the playoffs. So Lou Dort is legit, even though he has a massive contract. But, come playoff time, we need dudes like that.
Apparently. A massive contract, to say the least. Anyways, all that aside, let's just look forward into the year. So there's been a lot of movement this offseason, and I want to know what team do you think is just going to make, like, a nice jump? Maybe not, like, the biggest jump, maybe not anything, like, insane, but who's just going to, like, take a step forward, get to the next tier?
Well, I mean, we've already talked about the team led by Lou Dort, so we might as well get into it. I think the Oklahoma City Thunder are going to be what Phoenix was a couple of years ago, where they just made that massive jump, and I think they're going to be a top four seed in the Western Conference this upcoming season.
Whoa, top four!
Top four, because they have the core now, they have their four guys, and they have a lot of depth around them. Like, that's what you need come regular season time, right? Like, you need guys that are able to step into specific roles and play larger amounts of minutes when your stars get injured or out for a few games or a few weeks at a time. And I think they have a really deep roster. Just going over it, I mean, their starting lineup is Shai, Giddy going into year three, which is when a lot of players make their jump. Jalen Williams going into year two after a really good rookie season. And then you have Dort probably playing the four now, which should be interesting because he has the body type for it. And, the four now isn't what it used to be, obviously, with guys like Kevin Garnett and Tim Duncan playing that position. It's not like that anymore, right? You get guys that are 6'7" to 6'9" usually, and he's 6'4", 6'5", but he has a type of body like PJ Tucker, for example, that is able to push guys out and defend the perimeter, obviously, because he's very good at that. And then you have Chet coming back and, playing his first season in the NBA, and I think he's going to be really good. It's obviously a little bit of a worry if he's injured because he's probably the key to all this if he actually plays, because he's essentially like the perfect five for this team that plays a really weird style of offense with Shai at the helm, running a lot of guard, pick and roll and such. But he's able to obviously play behind the 3-point line and stretch the floor, and then obviously he's going to be one of the best shot blockers in the NBA this upcoming season. And I like their bench. Their bench is young, and it's with a lot of guys that can play into the type of style that they want to play with a lot of drive and kick, and guys that can play on ball or off ball. It just they got to figure out who is going to be playing in the guard position off the bench, which should be interesting coming up. It's like a small little subplot with their season coming up.
So you're going to have Shai, obviously, starting. And who else did you say? Jalen Williams? Small Jalen
Yeah,
Williams?
Jalen, then you got Giddy,
And Giddy?
obviously. And I think Dort obviously is going to be at the four because you need a guy that can defend the other team's best player. And then Chet's obviously going to start at the five.
So then after that, you have other Jalen Williams coming off the bench like he did last year. Isaiah Joe, Trey Mann, I'm assuming is going to be brought back. Oladipo is
Yeah, that's the
there.
thing. Like, this team has a big roster crunch because they have, I think, 20 players on the roster right now.
Yeah.
And the guys at the end of the roster are guys that were first and second year players. Like Ty Washington, he got traded there. Usman Garuba. Like, these guys, maybe they find a spot in a different team, but these are like interesting young players, and they're probably not going to get a chance with Oklahoma. But they make these trades to find these guys and try them out in training camp, and they're going to have to make at least like 3 to 5 cuts of the guys at the end of the bench, obviously.
Yeah, they have 20 guys on roster. Holy crap, that's crazy. That's genius. I don't know why more teams don't do that. Just like stockpile a bunch of young guys in the summer and then bring them into training camp and see what happens.
Well, they've had the picks for it, and they use those now. But it's like, are these guys even going to be in the roster come, start of the regular season now? I mean, they're probably going to cut Victor Oladipo because he's injured and he's not going to play this year. And
Yeah.
then guys like Aruba and
Actually,
Ty Washington might be the next to go. Jack White from Denver's now on this team too.
hey, world champion Jack White.
No, sorry.
Championship
Apologies.
pedigree Jack White, apparently.
But even a guy like, Jeremiah Robinson Earl, who actually played a lot of minutes for this team 2 years ago, not so much last year. He had a pretty good rookie season. And he might be one of the guys to get cut too. I think Trey Mann's probably going to be safe, but he might potentially get cut. I think Isaiah Joe is very safe. He's going to be a rotation player for this team. I think he's going to be the one constant off the bench. But I'm very interested to see what happens with their point guard position because obviously they just drafted, um, who was it? It was the 11th pick in the draft, I believe. It was Cason Wallace. He had a really good summer league. And then they brought over Micic, who's like the best player in Europe, and he's also a lead guard coming off the bench. So they might just play those guys together, I suppose. And then Trey Mann is the odd man out, and Aaron Wiggins is still on the roster too. He's showed flashes. Poku, I don't think is going to play that much. I don't think he's going to get cut either, there, but he's still a project, obviously. But they just have a lot of dudes.
Man, they should have just let Poku like cook during summer league.
Yeah, I don't know why he didn't play. He must have been still been injured, I guess. He had a knee injury last year, so maybe that was it.
Uh, I don't know. I don't trust it. You know how big of a proponent I am for summer guys going into summer league and just cooking people, young guys especially.
No, for sure. And he actually showed flashes last year. Like when he played the
Yeah,
five, he was actually pretty good. He had that game against Boston where he went like 20 and 10, had like 4 blocks. So
so
even though he's like a string bean,
that game elevated his fantasy like value so much, and then after that, it just like bottomed out again.
yeah, he's very inconsistent and not trustworthy, obviously. But yeah, I think the constants off the bench are going to be Micic and Jalen Williams, the other Jalen Williams, the center version Jalen Williams. And after that, I think it's just going to depend on the matchup a lot of the time. I think they're going to have a constantly rotating rotation, right? Like it's not going to be the same guys every night.
Where were they last year? What position? They were in the play-in, right? Or did they make the playoffs? I don't remember. Play-in.
Yeah, it was a play and they lost to Minnesota, I believe, right?
Yeah, that's yeah. So they beat New Orleans in the first play-in game and then lost to Minnesota in the second.
Hmm.
Okay.
And on the other side of things, they had a very healthy year, obviously. I think Giddy played 75 games, SGA played 68. But there was a lot of time throughout the season where, SGA was sitting out these random injuries too, which I thought they were still trying to tank, and yet they won 41 games with a roster that really wasn't complete. And then this year, you're bringing in, essentially a free agent in Chet Holmgren, right? You're bringing in a new guy that hasn't played on the roster yet, who's going to make a big impact, and you would hope that he plays at least 60 games. And if he does that, they're going to be very interesting. And then you still have Kenrich Williams, who didn't play in the second half of the year, and he was playing center for them. He was starting for them before he got injured.
Yo,
So
that's wild.
that's another interesting look, though. Like they actually
Oh,
look pretty good with him at center too. So not only playing Jalen Williams at center potentially, but playing him and actually spacing the floor a little bit. It's going to be interesting to see. But obviously, they're going to have a lot of roster construction potential issues coming up since 4 guys may potentially get the max in the next 4 years. So they're going to have to figure out that. And a lot of people think that Giddy's going to be the odd man out, but they can get creative and probably have to move Dort at that point and figure out some other stuff to make it all work.
how tall do you think Kendrick Williams is?
Mm, 6'7".
6'6". My
Yeah,
man was just channeling his inner Bruce Brown and diving straight to the net a lot.
yeah. I mean, he's a really good glue player. I think he might be the next Nick Collison for this team, honestly.
Yeah. Well, except he bounced around a bit. But yes, I like what you're saying. Just that guy who's gonna be with the organization forever kind of guy.
For life.
Yeah. Kind of like Udonis Haslam. Shosta Udonis just retired.
Oh wow, look at that!
Yeah.
Finally, after 30 years, he finally retired.
30. Yo. Same draft class as LeBron and D Wade. And our boy Darko Milicic. But
Oh yeah.
undrafted.
Yeah, there you
Was he
go. I
undrafted?
mean, he's made a good career for himself. I'm surprised that nobody traded for him at the trade deadline the last couple of years because he seems like a guy that can play 20 plus minutes in a playoff game.
UD?
No, no, Kenrich, sorry.
I was
I was
like,
going back to
what?
Kenrich. I'm bringing this full circle. UD, maybe not so much, but he had a good last game of the season, so who knows?
Yo, man, UD does it for the fans.
UD was nice back in the day. He was a great defensive player, and that, 17-footer was money.
Yup. All right. All right. I like your idea with OKC getting forward. Obviously, I don't like top four seed. That's a little much, I think. But
You said the same thing about Phoenix a couple of years. We get a scene of the future here. This team is deep, they're young, they're exciting, and they're going to play a style that nobody wants to play against, right? They're going to be running up and down the floor. Shai is going to be a pain in the ass getting to the line 15 times a game. And, their young guys are only going to get better. So they won 41 games in that last year, right? With a pretty limited roster. Why can't they get to
But
50?
a healthy roster, which we know in the NBA doesn't happen very often.
Yeah, this
That's
is
the
true. I
key.
mean, you can say the same thing about a team like Sacramento, too. Like, they're the healthiest team all year. And everyone's now expecting big things from them in this upcoming season. And who knows if the
Nah,
health situation is going to be the same.
nah, man. Sacramento's peaked for now. Second seed? Come on, man. They're not going to get better than a second seed. Or third, sorry, third
Yeah.
seed.
Yeah, it all depends on health, obviously. There's a lot of teams in the Western Conference that rely on their veterans, and a lot of these guys don't play. But hopefully, with the whole new system, with awarding guys that play 65 games, being able to get on the All NBA teams now, like maybe that'll help a little bit.
Well, that'll help our boy Shai. That's for damn sure.
Yeah, no, for sure. They're not going to be resting him this year because they're going to be trying to make the playoffs now.
That'd be crazy. Top four, man. The glory days for OKC, they might be back.
I think
Unlikely, but they
so.
might be back.
I
Uh,
think I think it's time.
I don't know. I think they'll be a playoff team, but maybe not top four. Yeah, the West is tough, man. Top four
No,
is a
the West
lot.
is definitely tough, but they have a ton of talent, and yeah, I just like the way that they play. Like
But
the way that they play every single night is not gonna. They have an identity, which a lot of teams in the West don't have,
yeah.
and they have stars who actually play games, unlike teams like the Clippers. So if I'm choosing between Oklahoma and the Clippers as to who's going to win more games next year, I'm choosing Oklahoma.
Yeah, have you since you brought up the Clippers, have you listened to this Paul George podcast? He's pretty good.
With Klay Thompson,
Yeah, or just in general. As an interviewer type of person or just someone to talk to, he's pretty good. I like
I
Pete.
didn't like the first couple I listened to, so I stopped listening, and then I listened to one with Cat, and it was actually pretty decent. So I'm going to listen to one with Clay, and then
Oh.
I might continue. We'll see.
I'm very selective with who I listen to. Like I didn't listen to the one with Kat or with Draymond for obvious
Yeah,
reasons.
Draymond. Yeah,
Yeah,
no
but
point.
the one with Demar was really good. There was one with Jaren Jackson Jr., which I thought was like pretty entertaining. The Klay Thompson one is amazing because it's Klay Thompson, and like just listening to the guy talk to anybody is great.
Yeah, he's like pure surfer, bro.
Yeah, is there anyone with a higher approval ranking in the league than Klay Thompson? Unlikely.
I don't think so.
By players,
Maybe
by
Udonis
media.
Haslam.
Yeah, maybe. But UD is like a OG vet, though. It's not the same as like a contemporary player who's still putting buckets on people.
Yeah, I guess maybe Giannis. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. Giannis gets that like, he's European thing.
Yeah, he's Greek or Nigerian or whatever he is now.
He's not one of us. Is all I know. He didn't play AAU ball.
That's true.
See, that's the same way Jokic doesn't get the same love.
I mean, he is now, and hopefully he stays healthy this upcoming season and has another MVP year. Should be four in a row in this upcoming year. Should
Yeah,
have
it's not
been.
gonna happen, man. He's
Yeah,
done getting his MVPs. LeBron should have more than like, how many does LeBron have? 2 or 3? Whatever he has, he
yeah,
should have
not
more.
many.
So
100%.
you know how MVP voting goes. Um, let's switch this up since we're talking about Euro League players or European players. I want to talk about the Orlando Magic. And my transition to this, Josh, did you realize that Anthony Parker is now the GM of the Orlando Magic? Anthony Parker, former Euro League MVP who went to the Toronto Raptors the year after.
Yeah, funny enough, I was actually watching some summer league highlights, and he was a part of one of the clips
You
where,
what?
like, I was watching player highlights. I was watching Anthony Black's highlights from Orlando,
Uh-huh.
and then they had Anthony Parker on while, Anthony Black is scoring a layup or whatever. They
Yeah,
were
yeah.
describing him as the GM. I'm like, oh, okay, this Anthony Parker, he's back
Yeah.
now. Good for him.
Good for Anthony
Good for
Parker,
him.
man. If you're a
Yeah.
a Toronto Raptors fan circa 2000 and what, 2006 to 2009?
Yeah, around there. It was like him and Garbo. Like those guys were like
Oh,
such good vets, and they played so well together. And Parker's shot was nice too.
Parker had a really nice shot. Garbo was sick for what he was, but career-ending injury and all.
Yeah, the fact that he was still smoking cigarettes in the locker room in the NBA was pretty cool.
Yeah. Yo, the fact that it was during the time that you could still smoke indoors. How about that?
I think he would still do it anyway, even now.
He's just like hanging out in the hallway, just lighting a pack up, or just lighting them up. I
Oh
like
yeah,
it.
he's got those Marlboros.
I like it, man. Anyways, this Orlando Magic team. The main reason I want to talk about them is because they're being led by two guys who are playing international hoops right now. I'm talking about Paolo Banchero and Franz Wagner, who took down the Canadian team yesterday, unfortunately. But just those two alone, right? Solid young core. You got those two. You got Suggs. You got Cole Anthony out there. Obviously, the other Wagner brother. And two rookies that, like, everyone is really high on. Between Anthony Black and Jet Howard. This team, I think, is just, like, coming together. They brought in Joe Harris. Joe Ingles. My bad. Not Joe. Joe Ingles is way better than Joe Harris. But between Joe
Indeed.
Ingles and Gary Harris, I like the good veteran leadership on this team. I like the way Banchero is developing. And, the fact that he's playing international ball sort of just... It tends to help guys with, like, their development and their leadership styles, which is obviously what they're going to need on this team. Just, everything's coming together, man. I'm very high on this team this upcoming year. They're going to be fast. They're strong. Woo! Bring me play-in game, guarantee.
I will actually play devil's advocate on this one
Get out of here.
because
Disrespect.
they have too many guards on this team. They have to figure out what they're doing with their point guard position, especially. Like, they have Markelle Fultz, they got Cole Anthony, Jalen Suggs, and now they're bringing in Anthony Black. Like, where are all the minutes going to go? You're playing these guys together now, and then they're going to be a super small backcourt. It just seems like their roster construction is a bit odd. They have a lot of really long, 6'9" guys, including a guy like, Jonathan Isaac still on this team,
No,
Chuma
Jonathan, no,
Okeke.
do not include Jonathan Isaac in anything, okay? Come on.
Yeah, he's
No.
just writing books nowadays.
Yeah, he's going
Um,
to be pushed out of the league so fast, same way Spencer Hawes was.
hmm Yeah, I would not be surprised at that. But I mean, their guard situation is just weird. Like, I thought they would just, get rid of the glut of guards that they had and make a trade maybe for a first round pick, maybe trade away Jalen Suggs or, Cole Anthony's extension's coming up soon. So what are they going to do with him coming off a pretty good season? But they just have too many guys, and which guy is going to be left out of the rotation? Because you can't, like, Jalen Suggs had a really good defensive year last year. His offense is still a little bit further behind. Like I said, Cole Anthony played really well off the bench last year, being a scorer off the bench, and then you got Anthony Black, and as a young team, you want to develop your rookies, obviously. So I just don't know where they're going with that. But obviously, their core is pretty nice with Paolo and Franz. I just think they're at least a year away from like figuring out truly who they are.
Man, you're really raining on my parade here. I was like all high on your OKC pick. I thought I was getting a little bit more support and just trying to shit on my guys in Orlando here, man.
I mean, they're somewhat similar in terms of the young core. It just I feel like the Oklahoma City Thunder's core fits better together, where there's defined roles, defined positions, and then off the bench, their rotation makes more sense versus, Orlando's where a lot of these guys need the ball. And ideally, you want to have the ball in Paolo and Franz's hands as much as possible. And then Markelle Fultz, when he came back last year, their team really took off, and they were actually above 500 team with him in the lineup. So he has an extension coming up as well, right? Like you have to decide what you're going to do with him.
They're gonna bring him
So
back.
if yeah, but then what are you going to do with the point guard position, right? Are you going to trade Suggs and Cole Anthony? Because all these guys can't get 24 plus minutes a game, and most of these guys want to play 30 plus. So you're
I
going to have to figure that out.
I think it's gonna end up revolving around Fultz and Suggs as their primary guards, as their main backcourt, and Cole Anthony just continues to be that like gunner off the bench because dude cannot play defense for LA.
Yeah, I guess so. But then you're playing Cole Anthony at the two, coming off the bench,
Yeah,
and then you got Jet Howard, who is a guard, shooting guard, coming off the bench, and you want to
true.
develop him too. And then where's the minutes coming from there? And then yeah, I don't know. I mean, the backup big positions, I think they're okay with because again, potentially you have Jonathan Isaac, and then Mo Wagner was okay last year, obviously. So you have some depth there, I suppose. But yeah, just the guard and forward positions, there's a glut there that they have to really figure out and probably make some trades and figure out what they're going to do going forward.
Ugh, man, I don't like this. I don't
Do you
like
think they're
this.
going to be a playoff team?
I think they'll be in the play-in.
I mean, I could definitely see it
I mean,
based
playing
on
is
what they
like they're
did.
not bottom 5 in the conference. That doesn't mean much.
Yeah, no, for sure. I can definitely see them taking a step up and like being at around 36 to 38 wins
Yeah,
potentially.
yeah.
But they were a team that was rumored for Fred Van Vliet. I think that's the type of trade they need to make in that they need to trade maybe two of their young guards or a young guard and one of their forwards for a more established player, whether that's a point guard or potentially a big.
I feel like they need more like wing depth because realistically, at that 3-4 position right now, or maybe even 2 to 4, whatever. On the wings, you basically have Gary Harris, Paolo Banchero, Joe Ingles, if you want to count him as like a still functional player, and what Franz. That's sort of it, right? There's no one else to really like eat up
And
real
if
minutes.
Isaac
Chube
plays,
Okiki.
and if Isaac plays.
Isaac's not going to play. Between being run out of the league and being in like an injury prone player, which is obviously not his fault. I mean, like, I don't think he's going to get many minutes, or he'll be healthy enough to get many minutes.
It's too bad too, because when he did play before his injuries, he was really, really good. Like he was Kirilenko level defense good, and his offense is starting to come around. He was giving Pascal Siakam like problems in the playoffs. He couldn't get by him. So it's just too bad that injuries derailed his career, and then he decided to be on Fox News.
That was before Pascal Siakam got that spin move, man. Once you figured out that spin move, like everything changed for Pascal.
That's true. That's true. But yeah, even like Joe Ingles though, like he looked pretty washed last year. So I'm not a big fan of their bench overall, just because of fit and then overall talent. I'm not really sure there's a lot there.
I'm high, man. I believe in Banchero and Suggs. That combination between the two of them, I think, is really nice.
I
And
just want to
Wagner.
see if they play Paolo at center coming up this season, as
Ooh.
part of the bench unit. Because he actually looked really good in the minutes that he played in the international game recently, a couple days ago, playing center. And, he was actually moving the ball really well, which is something that he just did not do in his regular, rookie season, obviously, because most rookies that are his archetype of player don't really pass the ball
Get
too often.
buckets,
But
man. Get buckets.
yeah, I don't blame him.
Yeah, hell yeah. No, man, forget you. I'm high on this Orlando team. And I didn't even mention Wendell Carter Jr., who apparently is our highest paid player this year.
Wow.
Or wait,
That's
no,
crazy.
sorry. Oh wait, he is. He is actually their highest guaranteed money. That's hilarious.
At 15 million?
13.
Wow.
His contract goes down every year. What a genius way to manage that contract, man.
I mean, this next year is going to be huge for them, and only having that type of contract on the books, right? Like, they don't have a massive contract on the books until their rookie guys eventually get extended. So they can really morph their team into whatever they see them as. So they just have to figure out what they want to put around those two guys.
No, man, they got a young core. They got a strong young core between Fultz, Wagner, Suggs, Banchero, Carter. That's a decent starting 5. I'm just saying.
Yeah, but
It's
I
not
mean,
incredible.
Gary Harris is going to start, though, right?
Ahead of who? Fultz?
Suggs.
Suggs? Eh,
Suggs didn't start last year. He's more of a point guard, right?
yeah, that's true. Okay, fine. I'm okay with that. Gary Harris can still hit shots from time to time. Not
Yeah.
often, but time to time.
I think they're going to make a big move for, a veteran star eventually. I'm not sure who that's going to be. Like they were rumored for Pascal Siakam, which didn't make any sense to me because they already have two guys at that position.
Mm-hmm.
But I think ultimately, I think the shooting guard position or the point guard position that they really want to upgrade, that's going to be their choice. That's going to be where all the money's going to be going in the next year or so. They're going to find somebody to take that role. I mean, Donovan Mitchell potentially, right? Like a lot of people are talking about him potentially leaving Cleveland, and Orlando was rumored for him before, so that makes a lot of sense to me.
Ooh, Donovan Mitchell. Come on down. I'd take that.
Yeah. Be a nice fit.
Yeah, he wouldn't be bad at all. He'd still be small, but goddamn, if you can get Donovan Mitchell on your team, we saw what he could do carrying an offense on his own last year, basically in Cleveland.
No doubt.
And fits in seamlessly. Couple of bigs on this team, just like a couple of bigs in Cleveland. Not the same kind of bigs. There's even more floor space in here.
No, for
Ooh.
sure. I hope he stays in Cleveland, though. I hope he doesn't just, stay there for a season or two and then demands a trade because they have a better core than Orlando right now, in my opinion.
Well, yeah, obviously. Evan Mobley is like, what, a top 10 young guy in the league?
Maybe. Maybe.
top
I don't
15
know.
young guy in the league. Jared Allen is an
There's
all-star last year somehow. Come on, man.
there's so much hype behind Evan Mobley, but that's a conversation for another day.
Oh, are you off the Mobley train? Wow.
I'm not off the Mobley train. It's just he has so much hype around him, and what did he do in the playoffs? Like he didn't show any offensive chops. Obviously, he's a really good defensive player, but he's got a long way to go on offense. Like he was compared to Bosch going into into his rookie year,
He was
and
compared to
Bosch came in right
KG
away.
halfway through his rookie year. Come
Uh,
on.
that's nuts. Ugh. Like ideally, you want him to become like Jaren Jackson Jr., right? Eventually.
I mean, Jaren Jackson Jr. is very nice on offense, though. Like,
Yeah, but it took
very
him time to
nice.
get to that role, right? Like 2 years ago, he was not like that.
I mean, he always had like a strong inside game. It's just more like well-rounded now.
Yeah, he's got more of a dribble drive game now, and he can post up smaller guys. And Mobley doesn't have either right now. He doesn't even have the shot yet, so it's going to take him time.
No, his shot is rough. Rough. But that's what the off seasons
Yeah,
are for, man. I'm sure he's working. He seems like
maybe.
a working kind of guy.
I mean, he's going to be the key to whether Mitchell stays or not, I think. Because if he actually takes a step up this year and they make the second round potentially, I think Mitchell stays. But if they don't, then I can see him moving on.
You know who's not the key to him staying is Ricky Rubio. Oh.
Yeah, that's too bad that he's going through some stuff right now and having to take a step away. But hopefully he comes back, somewhat of, what he was a couple of years ago and
Mm-hmm.
is able to stay in the league and get back.
Yeah, shouts to Ricky Rubio, man. Young Ricky Rubio was sick.
I always enjoy watching, especially international play. He was amazing.
Yup. Alright, let's hit up some stats corner.
All right, so for Stats Corner this week, we are going to be talking about crunch time, the
Oh.
clutch.
Oh.
So we're going to go into the most efficient, high-volume clutch season since 1997. We'll see how many of these you get right away. This is really going to test your chops. And then the
Holy.
least efficient. So I'll give you hints because these are going to be pretty difficult to get, obviously, thinking back to those seasons back then.
Mm-hmm.
So we will start with, let's go with the 2002 season. This player was on Boston.
Boston? Antoine?
Yes,
Bang!
surprisingly. He had 99 clutch field goal attempts and shot 52% in terms of true shooting percentage.
Let's go,
Sorry,
man.
effective field goal percentage.
Ooh, that's why Antoine got paid.
Absolutely. Pretty surprising that it's Antoine instead of Pierce, though. But,
Hold on. Pierce may have been a better player consistently throughout his career, but at their peaks, I would have taken Antoine Walker. At top level, I'd take Antoine.
That's a pretty hot take right there.
Yo, Antoine won at a 4-point line, bro. He called for it
That's
in like
true.
2005 before anyone else even thought of it.
And yet he was shooting like 28% from three.
It doesn't matter.
Imagine what he would have shot from four, like 10%.
40%. You ever think of that?
You know what? This is actually not in order, so I'm actually going to start from the top. Can you
Sure.
guess the most efficient high volume clutch season since 1997? Who owns that season?
Was it Kobe?
It was not, but you're in the right thinking
Jordan?
space. Nope. You're still in the right thinking space.
LeBron?
LeBron, 61% effective field goal percentage in the year 2018, and his team was 30-15 on the Cavs.
What,
The second player,
Hold on. They had 45 positions or like games where they were in clutch positions.
apparently,
Oh
yeah,
my god, that's a lot.
pretty
For,
crazy.
for a team that went to the finals, man, that's a lot of clutch possessions.
Pretty nuts. This one I'm not going to give you too many hints, and we'll see if you can get it. The 2017 season, I believe this is the year the team went to the conference finals, and they've only been there one time. It's a Western Conference team,
Dame.
and in the right realm.
CJ? McCollum?
CJ
Ooh.
McCollum, 60.3
Woo.
effective field goal percentage, and the team was 22-23. So
I mean, that's not great.
he was
honestly.
clutch, but didn't help that much, I guess.
I mean, just because he hits shots doesn't mean they get stops on that team.
That is true.
Between Al-Farouq
Uh,
Aminu and what was his other name? Mo Harkless
More
manning the
Harkless, yeah.
perimeter.
They're two wing guys who they just never upgraded from.
It's true.
The next guy's going to be a lot tougher. 1997 Houston Rockets.
Uh, 97?
I'll
Hakeem?
give you two guesses and then I'll give you the position.
Was it Hakeem?
Oh, there you go. Hakeem
Oh, there you
Olajuwon,
go.
57.5%,
Yeah.
28 and 12.
See, that's right. It's because Hakeem's leading the team.
Indeed.
And that was before they
Uh,
got Scotty and Barkley's fat ass.
yeah, 98, I think it was. Actually, no, it
98,
was
99
99.
season.
99.
It was right
Yeah,
after
yeah.
the three-peat.
Yep. 2000.
Oh,
And this player is a versatile big man
Shaquille.
and one of the... No,
Oh,
no.
he's not versatile.
Power forward.
Duncan.
Nope.
Oh, KG.
There you go. Kevin Garnett, 56.6. His team was 28 and 16 that year.
Poor KG, man.
Yeah,
Fucking
it was
Minnesota.
tough going through those years with, being him as my favorite player, having to go through those seasons where they're like 41 and 41 every year, having
Who
no
was the
talent
second
on those
best
teams.
player on those teams? Hudson? Troy Hudson?
Probably back then, before they got Cassell and Sprewell, it might have been him or Wally Zerbiak, I guess.
Oh, Wally. The guy
Wally's
Wally.
World. And lastly, the 2019 Boston Celtics.
19. Is that Kyrie?
Kyrie Irving, well done,
Dang.
56%. The team was 20 and 17.
Yeah.
Just quickly to round up the top 10 so we can get to the least efficient players. Isaiah Thomas for the Boston Celtics in 2017, 30 and 14. De'Aaron Fox this year,
Oh, yeah.
55%, 22 and 17. Kemba in 2017, 55%, 22 and 28. Pretty brutal.
Was that? That was on the Hornets? Or Bobcats,
Yes.
I guess? Whatever.
Yep.
Hornets.
I remember him being super clutch back then, too.
Oh, yeah. Prime Kemba was nice, man.
Oh, yeah.
Prime Kemba was an
And
animal.
LeBron, again, in 2010, 55%, 33 and 12. Pretty impressive.
Wow.
And to round out the top 10, you had Ben Gordon in 2006, a very clutch
Ooh.
player back in his day. Now he's getting arrested all the time at 54.7%. And Russell Westbrook at 55%, 17 and 18 for the 2021 Washington Wizards.
Oh, I thought you were going to say during the MVP year. That's even more impressive.
Nope, he had his most efficient year with Washington, surprisingly. Now, the least efficient high-volume clutch season since 1997.
Oh, yeah, now we're
Just
talking.
throw out some names and let's see if you get any. Let's give you 5 guesses.
Allen Iverson.
Iverson is on the list. He is number 11, 36% effective field goal percentage for the 2003 Philadelphia 76ers. Their team was 27 and 20 despite this somehow.
Good defense. Give me
Guess so.
Give me Vince Carter.
Yeah, very impressive. You know which team?
I mean, probably the Raptors.
Nope,
No,
the
the
Nets. 2006 Nets.
Oh.
So he was 33% from the field, and yet they were 27 and 13.
Excellent defensive teams.
Indeed.
Let me see. Who else? Dirk? Young Dirk?
No.
We're reaching too much, eh? How about
There
Antoine
are-
Walker?
There's no white players on the list, so you can cross those guys off.
Fair enough. How about Antoine Walker? Is he on this list as well? Because that'd be hilarious.
Surprisingly, no.
Okay, well, I hate to say it, but Kobe.
Yes, Kobe is on the list. He is number 8, 35% in the 2005 season where they went 18 and 21.
Yeah, that was
And
that was
now
Chuck
I'm going
and
to give
Kobe.
you... What's that?
That was prime Chuck and Kobe.
Yes, he took a lot of shots back then.
That was
He had
81 point year,
108.
wasn't it?
I think so,
I
yes.
think that was.
And he had 108 attempts, which is actually not the highest. The highest was... Actually, Iverson's on the list twice.
Of course he
He's,
is.
He's 11 and 14, so there you go. To round out the top 5, you had Vince at number 4, Oklahoma City Thunder, 2010.
KD?
No.
2010. Who the hell was on that team?
This one should be easy.
Westbrook?
Yeah, Westbrook 29%. His team was 20 and 24.
29. I love it. Don't
And you
stop,
have
Russ.
the 2001 Sacramento Kings, who are actually a really good team.
2000. Well, De'Aaron, I'm assuming.
2001.
Oh, 2001. Oh, Weber?
Yeah, Chris Webber 29.6%. His team was 23 and 15. And
Not surprised.
this one's going to be tough. 2008 New York Knicks. He's a guard.
2008. Steve Francis.
Nope.
Stephon Marbury.
Nope. Your next guess is probably going to be the right one.
I can't think of who else was there.
I think he's the one player who's had 50 points with like 5 different teams.
Jamal Crawford?
Jamal Crawford, 29.7%, 16 and 22 that year. And
Love Jamal Crawford.
he was nice.
Name me a player with a better mixtape. Okay, I'm sure there are some players, but like he's top 5 mixtapes for sure.
No, for sure. Kyrie's probably number 1, but he's probably number 3 or 4, somewhere on the list. To round out the list, let's see if you can get this one. 2002 Houston Rockets.
What the hell? I have no idea. Who was on that team? Mobley?
There you go. Katino
Ooh.
Mobley, 33%.
I'm surprised it wasn't Steve Francis, to be honest.
Yeah, no doubt.
It had to be one of the
Francis
two.
is not on this list, surprisingly. Actually, no, he is on the list. He's number 15.
Oh, more efficient than Allen Iverson then.
Indeed.
Sometimes.
Barely. But the 2 players with the highest field goal attempts were Damon Stoudemire, who's number 6 on the list at 33.5%, and Bradley Beal in 2018 at 124 attempts as well, 33.9%.
What team was Damon Stoudemire on?
The Raptors in 1997.
Oh, wow. That was a young Damon. Holy.
He was taking a lot of shots back then.
Well, who else would have shot on the Raptors during those years?
Yeah, like Radojevic. Is that even a real name?
1997? Probably not. Think of the expansion Raptors. Who was on that team? Doug Christie?
Yeah, Doug Christie was on that team. I think Radojevic was on that team. He was like, actually no, it was that big Slovenian guy. I can't remember what his name was. It's gonna bother me now.
I have no idea who you're talking about, man.
Dino Raja was on that team, maybe?
Do you know Raja? Was he?
Wasn't he on that team? I don't know.
I don't know, man.
Sounds right.
You need to learn more about your expansion Toronto Raptors teams.
I gotta look this up to see who that big guy was, but yeah, I mean, I don't blame him for. I mean, Chauncey Billups was on that team before he got traded, so there you go. Jean Tabak, that's the name, Jean Tabak.
Jean Talon?
Jean Tabak. Jean Talon.
You like that, eh?
It's very nice.
Oh, man. I hope Raj hears that and gets the joke. Shouts to Raj for not being here.
Yeah, again.
Good stuff, man. I like it. I always love talking about old players, so if you talk about players from that like 2002 to 2008 range, I'm in my prime right there. So bring back more trivia like that.
You did better than I thought you would.
Yo, I knocked that out of the park, bro. I would have killed Raj on this one.
I'm looking forward to the next podcast where you and Raj go head to head, and the topic is going to be a fun one.
Oh, I can't wait. All right, on that note, I'm going to call it here. I want to thank everyone for listening. Please remember to rate and subscribe. You can find us on iTunes, Spotify, all your major podcast platforms. We're on all the socials. I'm talking TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, X videos? Is that what we're calling it now?
I don't even know nowadays. Surprised it's still running.
And YouTube Shorts. And yeah, I guess we're on Threads too. You can find us on Threads. We'll be there. And until next time, peace.